What's going on, family? I'm Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. I want to continue to examine 100 years of World Championship fights. It was on a Wednesday night, February 14th, 1951, when Sugar Ray Robinson would become the brand new middleweight champion of the world. He would defeat the Bronx Raging Bull, Jake LaMotta. Referee Frank Sikora would step in and stop the contest 2 minutes and 4 seconds of the 13th round. This fight was better known as the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. Now, both men would perform at the Chicago Stadium. It would be Jake LaMotta's third title defense, and Ray Robinson would be a 3-1 favorite in this contest. Jake was 28 years old. He stood 5 foot 8 inches, and he had a 72.5-inch reach. Came into this ring with a record of 78 wins, 14 losses, 3 draws, and 28 knockouts. As for Sugar Ray, he was 29 years old. He stood 5 foot 11 inches and weighed 155 pounds. He had a 67-inch reach with a record of 121 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, and 79 knockouts. Now at this point, the only opponent he would lose to would be Jake LaMotta himself, 1943. And he would avenge that loss 3 weeks later. Remarkable. Just remarkable. 14,802 spectators would pay $180,619 for this contest. Champion Jake LaMotta would earn 45% of the gate, $62,522, plus a guaranteed $1,500 for TV rights. As for Ray Robinson, he would earn 15% of the gate, receive $20,840 and $1,500 for TV rights. Now, Jake LaMotta fought Tony Gennaro, Fritzy Zivic, Marcel Sedan, Holman Williams, Tiberio Mitri, Robert Villemain, Bob Satterfield, Laurent Zotil. Ray Robinson would fight 6 times. He would lose 1 and win 5 over Jake LaMotta. Now, the trainer Al Savani and manager Joey LaMotta would make sure that Jake LaMotta's career was well protected. 83 wins, 19 losses, 4 draws, and 30 knockouts would be the record of Jake LaMotta. Jake LaMotta would state, "I fought Sugar Ray so many times, it's a wonder I don't have diabetes." Ray Robinson was born in Georgia. He would fly through Harlem, New York. He had a record of 199 total bouts, 174 wins, 109 knockouts, 19 losses. He'd be stopped 1 time by Joey Maxim, 6 draws, fought from 1940 to 1965. Now, in his first 21 professional bouts, he'd be in a ring with fighters such as Sammy Ingat, Marty Servo, Fritzy Zivic, 3 world champions. 1942, Ray had 14 fights with 5 world champions: Fritzy Zivic, Marty Servo, Sammy Ingat, Jake LaMotta, and Izzy Genazzo. 1943, he would have 6 fights with 2 champions, Jake LaMotta and Henry Armstrong. For 3 weeks with Jake LaMotta, twice with LaMotta, and once with Jackie Wilson. These 2 men were incredible. 6 fights in all. LaMotta would win 1. Ray Robinson would win 5. One of the greatest rubber matches in boxing history. Sugar Ray Robinson and the great Jake LaMotta. Now, I want you to pay attention to the spread of fights I'm going to be naming in this video. And we'll get back as to why this was important.
with a long overhand right, and he nails Lamotta coming in. And then Jake grabs him, and his knees sag. But he came to the core as the Bronx Bull, the middleweight champion of the world, at least until this one is over. Here are 2, 3, 4, 5 left hands on the nose. Lamotta cannot get his hands up. Robinson with his left hand into the head and a right hand into the midsection. And Jake Lamotta runs into a left hook that's thrown by Sugar Ray. Lamotta plodding in. Runs into a left hand thrown on the forehead. Robinson with a right hand thrown down to the midsection. Only 1 minute is gone here in round 13. Robinson looking for an opening. Comes in and scores with a terrific right uppercut and 2 left hooks to the chin. Misses a right uppercut. Then Lamotta just lurches back against the ropes and stands there. And Robbie goes to him and smashes him in the nose with his left and his right. His right hand right down on the cheekbone. And Jake appears powerless to defend himself. And the swollen spot on his left cheek has opened up and is spilling crimson down his face. Robinson with a straight overhand right with 1.5 minutes left to go in round 13. Lamotta trying to hold on. Some of the crowd yelling, stop it, but you don't do that to a champion. He has to go out fighting. Lamotta misses the left hook thrown for the head of Sugar Ray. Ray with 2 left hands on that swollen left eye of Jake's. Another left hand. Then Jake is able to move away from the right hand, and then he falls as they fall back to the ropes, but does not go down, and Robinson tags him with a straight right hand on the forehead. And Lamotta seems close to come away from the rope, but he does come out, and Robinson hits him with a powerful right hand, a left uppercut, a right cross, and Lamotta holds on, and they're going to stop it. Ray Robinson is the new champion of the world.
Tuesday, July 10th, 1951. British middleweight champion Randy Turpin upsets middleweight champion of the world, the great Sugar Ray Robinson, 15 rounds at Earl's Court Arena in Kingston, United Kingdom. The referee was Eugene Henderson. It was Ray's first title defense. Ray fought in France, Switzerland, Belgium, Germany, Italy between May 21st and July 1st of that year. It was his 7th fight of that tour. Robinson was a 4-1 favorite to defeat Randy Turpin. Now, Robinson earned $84,000 and Turpin earned $25,000. Ray was cut over his eye, and he had problems seeing out of that left eye, as Turpin would constantly pick at it. You see, Turpin had a grandfather who fought in the bare knuckle days. And his grandfather taught him certain moves, how to turn and keep his hands in certain directions. And it was very difficult for Ray Robinson to counter him, especially after being his 7th fight, fighting in 5 different countries. Didn't have the legs he needed. He would stay at the best hotels. He had a mascot added to his entourage. He had a man who carried 20 suits and luggages. Wherever he went, Ray was mobbed by the crowd. Ray stood 5 foot 11 inches. He weighed 154 pounds. He had a fighting record of 129 wins, 1 loss, 2 draws, and 85 knockouts. Randy Turpin stayed 5 foot 9.5 inches. That's what he stood. 159 pounds was his weight. 40 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 29 knockouts. Now they would fight each other a second time. And this time Ray would have 157 fights, 129 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, and 85 knockouts. Now he weighed 157 pounds, 129 wins. I want to correct myself. 2 losses, 2 draws, and 85 knockouts. He earned 30% of the gate. $230,000 was his purse. Randy Turpin stood 5 foot 9.5 inches. He weighed 159 pounds. His record was 41 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 29 knockouts. That was his second fight. He earned $210,000, 25% of the game. Now, September 12th, 1951, Referee Ruby Goldstein stopped the contest 2 minutes and 52 seconds of the 10th round, New York's Polo Grounds. Randy Turpin. His name was Adolphus Turpin. He was born June 7, 1928, in the United Kingdom. He died May 17, 1966. He was 37 years of age at the time of his death, and he would reside in the United Kingdom. Randy Turpin fought from 1946 to 1964. Had a fighting career record of 75 total bouts, 66 wins, 8 losses, 45 knockouts, and he was stopped 5 times. Randy would be knocked out by Tiberio Mitri, 1 round. He'd be hit and pushed at the same time. He was one of 5 brothers. Dick Turpin was the other fighting brother. But unfortunately, Randy Turpin would commit suicide. He was a remarkable fighter. But he would give Ray Robinson hell. In their second fight at the Polo Grounds, the fight Dr. Nardiato would tell Ruby Goldstein, who was the referee, I need you to look at his eye. Because if I look at it, I'm going to stop the fight. So Goldstein would take that opportunity to go to the corner and say to Ray, they want me to stop the fight. I mentioned to you one of the greatest trainers in boxing history, Harry Wiley Sr. He spoke to Ruby Goldstein. Told him, Ruby, for me. Let him continue. Things don't change in the next round. You do what you have to do. Ray came out and dropped Randy Turpin. Took him to the ropes. Beat him half to death. That's the champion. Shout out to Ray Robinson. Randy Turpin. 1951. One of the most courageous years for fighters who were champions.
This was not a walkover. The rematch turned out to be a tough one for Sugar Ray Robinson. In fact, the fight was even until Turpin inflicted a serious cut on Sugar Ray. By round 9, it appeared the referee Ruby Goldstein was looking to stop the fight. Goldstein gave Robinson one more round. He said this would be it, and this is round 10.
And if there was ever an advantage or ever a fuel to put in somebody's tank is when you tell a fighter you got one more round to go. So Sugar Ray had the advantage of knowing it was do or die this round, and if it's one thing that Sugar Ray Robinson was known for, it was a finisher. He could get you in trouble and he could take you out.
And Turpin is sent down by Robinson. Randy Turpin, a very awkward fighter, which made things even more difficult for Sugar Ray Robinson.
And that was the principal difficulty that Sugar Ray Robinson had with Turpin. He just couldn't land flush. If you could box with Robinson, he'd kill you. But this guy was so awkward, he couldn't land flush. Now, what he's trying to do is to finish in such a fashion that Ruby Goldstein will step in here and stop this before it goes much further.
And this is a striking example of the cold fury that Sugar Ray Robinson could unleash. Remember, when this round began, it appeared that he was in trouble. And now the referee, Ruby Goldstein, is checking it over, about to step in. And that's it. 2:52, round 10. Sugar Ray Robinson keeps intact his reputation.
July 18th, 1951. World Heavyweight Champion, Cincinnati Cobra, Ezzard Charles, is knocked out in round 7 by Jersey Joe Walcott in what was seen as the perfect and upsetting left hook, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Walcott becomes the oldest, at that time, heavyweight champion in history. Ezzard Charles stood 6 foot. He weighed 160 to 204 pounds. Walcott was 6 foot. He weighed 158 to 206 pounds. Ezzard Charles passed opponents such as Jimmy Bivens, Charlie Burley, Archie Moore, Lloyd Marshall, Jersey Joe Walcott, Joe Louis, Booker Beckworth, Sammy Baruti, Elmer Violet Ray, Oakland Billy Smith, Bob Satterfield, Harold Johnson, Rocky Marciano twice, Rex Lane, Harry Kid Matthews, Paul Andrews, Johnny Holman, Coley Wallace, Nino Valdez, Tommy Harrison, Charlie Norkus, Frank Buford, Ken Overland, Joey Maxim, Anton Christopherdes. Walcott would pass opponents such as Tiger Jack Fox, Elmer Violet Ray, Curtis the Hatchman Shepard, Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano, Jimmy Bivens, Harold Johnson. Remarkable fighters these two men were. Their resumes are unbelievable. Ezzard Charles would defeat Charlie Burley twice and Archie Moore 3 times. He was one of the greatest fighters in boxing history. But he would lose his fight. Jersey Joe Walcott and his title. July 18th, 1951, 7th round, with an unbelievable knockout. One of the greatest knockouts in boxing history, along with Rocky Marciano, Jersey Joe Walcott, Ray Robinson, Gene Foreman, Joe Louis, Buddy Bear. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Let's look at that knockout.
He's on his feet, but he stumbles backwards from the continuing effects of that devastating punch. Let's watch that again in knockout slow motion. Walcott comes in almost nonchalantly. Now here comes that left hook. That punch twisted Charles' head almost all the way around. Look at his distorted features.
Let's take a look at Charles and Walcott for one moment. Ezzard Charles is the champion, and Jersey Joe Walcott is the challenger.
The champion, Ezzard Charles, a 5-1 favorite tonight. Most of the fight experts predict he'll beat Walcott. And so do most of the 28,000 fight fans here at Forbes Field. They figure that Walcott's age...
Very nice. Now, Charles comes out with the jab. Very important. But the problem he's having is he realizes that Walcott is confusing him. Why? Because Walcott is consistently moving every part of his body. He never stands still. And that's the problem Eddie Charles is having. Look at the little movements, the erky-jerk movements that Walcott is making. There's nothing to time. The gloves are moving consistently, his head is moving consistently, his body is moving consistently. But he's not running around, he's standing right in front of Charles, but he's doing little stutter steps. Beautiful pick off the jab was Walcott.
This is Walcott's 5th shot at the heavyweight title.
Now, if you look at a little bit of moves here, Roy Jones does a lot of these moves. I'm sure he picked it up from Walcott, or someone who trained him picked it up from Walcott, because Walcott was an original. Now, Walcott almost got caught because he wanted to reset himself, and Charles was well prepared for that. Walcott is much stronger than Charles, and he knows that. Look at the movements of Walcott. Charles has to consistently jab. But he's hesitating because of the movements of Walcott. This is Scrapbook Boxing Museum of the Forgotten Fisticuffs series. All great fights and all great fighters will never be forgotten on my channel. 100 years of World Championship fights. Eddie Charles and Jersey Joe Walcott. 1951. One of the greatest knockouts in boxing history. See you in the next video. Salute.
To fill the vacancy caused by the retirement of Joe Louis. Since then, Charles has put his title on the line 8 times and he's won them all. Tonight's fight makes the 9th.